The older I get, the more frequently I realize how dumb I can be. And the first step to battling this is learning how to improve my ability to think. In order to become better at critical thinking, I need someone who's a much stronger thinker than I am to show me the ropes.
National Master James Canty III.
In this video, I'm grateful to have titled Chess National Master James Canty III to help set me up for maximum improvement over the next month. Welcome to Get It Together, and if you're new here, this channel is just me trying to figure out how to get my life together and sharing the tips and lessons I learned along the way. And if you've seen my year's goals video, which I'll link right up here, I'm issuing myself 12 monthly challenges, and so starting tomorrow, the beginning of the new month, I'm going to use chess as a tool to introduce myself to methodical yet flexible critical thinking in a bid to make myself less dumb. Before diving in, there are timestamps in the description below, so feel free to hop around from section to section. A quick preamble though. I was introduced to chess at around 8 years old when my mom bought me this book, and that is to say I learned how the pieces moved, and that's basically it. My only other exposure to chess was on rare occasions when I'd see my uncle who loved chess. So basically, in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to chess, I'm hot trash. But with factors like quarantine limiting people's mobility and the Queen's Gambit on Netflix, chess has seen an explosion of sorts, and over the past 2 months, I've climbed on that bandwagon. And with a reignited interest in the game stormed perfectly with my realization that I need to improve my thinking, I've decided to assign this coming month's challenge as dedicating an hour or so a day with chess to improve my judgment, decision-making, and logical thought process in all areas of life. I asked James if this presupposition made sense, to which he succinctly replied,
Chess is life. Life is chess. The decisions you make in chess, the same things in life. Of course, bad decisions, you have consequences for them.
"Great, sweet, sweet validation." And by the way, I can't stress how grateful I was. I mean, pay attention to these next 10 seconds because the Jedi is busy. He's a Twitch partner streamer streaming boatloads of chess content, a staff tournament commentator for chess.com, a YouTube chess content creator, all of which I've linked in the description below, so be sure to visit him on the interwebs. Oh, and to top it all off, as a titled National Master, he literally had to participate in a tournament the next day after our chat to work towards his International Master and Grandmaster titles. So needless to say, I didn't want this to be a waste of his time, so I laid out my goals I hope to achieve by the end of our chat, which were: number 1, start with a baseline game with him so he can see where I need to improve the most. 2, based on that game, prescribe the best way for me to spend my daily hour this coming month for practice. And 3, to ask specific practice and game questions that have entered my mind to really round out the month's training protocol. But it all starts with our baseline game for James to see just how doo-doo I really am. So I am, I guess, inviting you now.
There it is.
Right.
Got it. Accept. There we go. Let's do it.
All right.
Gonna play my favorite.
E4 is the favorite.
E4 is my favorite. E4 for life is what I tell people. Carol Khan. Nice. Okay, let's see what you know about that. Carol
Not
Khan.
much. We'll figure this out. I have a feeling.
Okay, nice. That's the move. This is still book.
But I feel like I don't know if the Queen's gonna come out early or if I'm just gonna blockade. Yeah, I think all right.
Okay, that's the best move there. This is still following the book, believe it or not. So you're doing well so far.
Okay, that's optimistic to hear.
Okay, knight f6, still book here. Wow, nice c3. You're doing good so far, to say the least. So that's good. You have a basic understanding, which is good.
That's encouraging.
E6, right. Pretty good. Yeah, you might be like maybe 1300, maybe less. Let's see where you at though. We got to see the next few moves, but so far, so good.
Sounds good.
Okay, bishop b4. Wow, man, this man is playing some real chess here. Let me take this.
Now it's okay. Well, I obviously can't take with my queen.
Took with the pawn. Okay, I'm gonna go bishop d3 and get out of the way.
Okay, so the claim was getting out of the way, so that must be getting in the way of castling. I can't prevent you. You're gonna duck the pin too, so I think I'm just gonna preemptively. Oops.
Great job getting out of the way. Wow, still hanging here. Shoot, I might be getting swindled here. G4. Okay, that's a pin on my knight, which is a little annoying. We're gonna play h3.
Okay, this is where I get stuck. Maybe blocking my knight unnecessarily here. Okay.
Okay, bishop e6. So the better move was actually bishop h5, just to keep the pin going. So you still have a long range pin. But so far, so good. I was going to play this move anyway, regardless of if you played bishop h5 or anything else besides bishop takes f3.
Got it. Okay, so keep the pin, so maybe I will.
Okay. See what we do here. Let's play a good development move, which would be rook t1. Queen b6. Let's try rook b1.
All right.
c8. I'll go knight e5.
Knight e5. Ooh, that queen diagonal got opened up.
Just a little bit.
I'm going to play my knee-jerk reaction move.
Okay.
See what happens here. All right. I'm still going to play the see what happens.
Okay, so that is a free pawn. Very nice. That's a free pawn. Except, I have a favorite phrase. I'm sure you watched the video. That's not a move. So we're going to
dear.
take it. We're going to take it.
Oh. Okay.
Yep. Mhm.
All right. Okay. My hope was that I wouldn't get "That's Not a Move," but I did. And we can cop "That Is Not a Move" merch from you as well.
That's
Yeah,
right, man.
yeah.
GMCanty.live.
Straight up, should I just resign at this point, or should
You
we actually
can,
see?
but you can still play on. I always tell students, never resign. You never know.
Right.
But of course, at the same time, this is completely lost. You have lost your queen. But
Okay.
just play on. Let's take this one.
All the things are hanging. Okay.
Everything's hanging. That's right. Everything's hanging.
I feel like you're down to trade at this point.
It is. The rule is trade when you're up, not when you're down.
Oh, I have no fork protection right now.
No fork protection. That is correct. And the knight is hanging.
Ah, sigh. All right, let's. Okay, I'm gonna just try to power through this. See what occurs.
Okay.
All right. Hey, rook. Is this even a threat? No, it is not. That just happened, folks. All right.
Queen to b4.
Oh dear, some things being discovered real soon.
Real discover checks. That's nice. You have a very basic knowledge of chess. Like I said, you probably easily 1300. This was a very nice game development wise. I tell my students get the pieces off the back rank, and you did that very quickly. You castled your king, which is step 2. First, number 1 is development. Number 2 is king safety, and number 3 is chemistry.
Oh no!
Good game. Now,
Good game.
Number 3 is chemistry of the pieces based off development. Now, what that means in an easier term is that what pieces go to the same squares or areas. So if you look, this checkmate on the board right here,
Yep.
my queen and my knight both go to e7. So that's chemistry of the e7 square.
Okay, so evidently, as promised, I'm definitely hot trash, but at least it seems like I'm not cold diarrhea. So regardless, here's the first major takeaway, which is at the onset, there are 3 principles for us to pay attention to with chess. 1, start with developing your pieces. 2, maximize king safety, which more often than not involves castling, but not necessarily always. And 3, identify and leverage piece chemistry. But then he continued.
And now number 3 is that chemistry, which you actually had pretty good chemistry through the opening, but you just blundered. And how you stop blunders. This is a huge one. This thing called blunder checks. I teach this to my students all the time. Blunder check equals, before I make a move, are there any checks or captures? If you can ask this every single move, then you wouldn't make actually the move you made today and it just hung the queen, because you would know you would make a blunder check every single move, even for move 1. You're going to say, are there any checks and captures on the board? I mean, the whole board. You got to look around the board. Any checks or captures before I make this move? So really, it's like 3 separate steps. Number 1 is following the 3 steps: development, king safety, chemistry. And then number 2 is that blunder check. And number 3 is like looking around the whole board at all times. So that's usually a foundation, fundamentals, starter kit for chess.
Okay, so let me redo that slide I made earlier. Part 1 is to follow those first 3 steps in the opening, and then part 2 is conducting blunder checks before each move, asking myself, does my opponent have any move that'll put me into check or capture something of mine? And if so, do I have sufficient piece coverage and maintain positional fortitude? And part 3 is to ensure that I continuously take stock of the entire board, because I especially love that third one, because I just noticed as you were saying those words that this whole game I just had tunnel vision on like 2 or 3 squares.
Yep.
Like,
2 or 3
that's
squares.
what's up,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
And that's usually what happens as beginners.
And now, with a few core principles and tenets to guide me, I really wanted to drill down on my desired net takeaway, which was to figure out what is the best way to spend my dedicated hour or so every day. I was really happy at how instinctively he was able to guide me with concrete quantitative metrics.
You got the foundation, the 3 steps: development, king safety, chemistry. So that's good there. But tactics is what really help you in all areas. Tactics are 2 to 4 move combinations. So if you can see a 2 to 4 move combination better than your opponent or more times than your opponent, you always want to be looking for a tactic because tactics 99% of your games will be won or lost off tactics. This game you lost from a tactic. Queen takes d4, I take on h7, I take the queen. Simple tactics. So the more tactics you do, the more patterns you develop, the more pattern recognition you get, and then you'll be able to be better over the board, just period, playing chess, because you'll be looking for them and also avoiding them yourself.
Originally, my thought was to spend like 10 minutes on looking at some opening theory and then spending 20 minutes on puzzles and then half an hour to play 2 rapid games. That was originally my
Okay.
plan, but it sounds like you believe that I should heavily sway just towards tactical learning.
Yeah, it
Is
should be
that
70%, probably like 10-20% in game as well. You want to do some basic in game study because you need to know if you got a king and a pawn in a winning position, you got to know how to convert it or it just sucks.
Man, he's such a great teacher, and he offers private lessons that include custom tailored lesson plans if you're really looking to accelerate your chess learning. Finally, because chess games are broken down into 3 acts, the opening, the mid-game, and the endgame, I wanted to ensure that I was starting things off on the right foot. So I asked, agree or disagree? When you're at my level, if you're going to play white, pick one opening and get really good at that one,
That's
or switch
general.
it up.
That's general. That's general. Great chess is 1 opening for white, 2 for black. And the reason why we say 2 is because you have to respond to e4 and d4, which are the most
Oh,
common.
I see. Okay. I loop all of this around, and first off, I gotta say that I already see so many core lessons here from the time spent with James that tie in directly to life. Things like how I built tunnel vision on just 2 or 3 squares throughout our game, and how I, like most people who have ever attempted a diet, got tunnel vision when I first started on just obsessing over weight. Which, if you're curious, watch this video, I'll link right up here as to why weight is the worst metric to track on a diet. In other words, we may be laser focused on things like 2 or 3 squares or weight as a metric when dieting, but that at best makes us lose sight of the bigger picture, and at worst, aren't even the things we should really be paying attention to in the first place. So brass tacks, what is my plan for this month-long challenge starting tomorrow? Well, as per James' prescription, I'm going to be weighing heavily into learning tactics, those 2 to 4 move combinations I need to train myself to spot and build up pattern recognition and instincts for. I'll be splitting my learning into mid-game and end-game tactic puzzles for about 40 minutes, followed by 20 minutes of digging into the 3 openings I've chosen. The London for when I play white, and the Caro Kann and King's Indian defenses for when I play black. My hope at the end of this month is first and foremost to be able to more confidently navigate life's decisions more intentionally and thoughtfully by using the frameworks of thought learned through a dedicated exercise in practicing and improving with chess. As you can see, my chess.com rating is currently sitting at 1005, and we'll see where I end up at month's end. I can't wait to discover the lessons I'll learn and hope you'll glean some value too. And speaking of which, if you're catching value, please do hit like and subscribe because it really, really helps me out. And if you have any tips for a chess scrub like myself, I'd love for you to comment them down below. As for me, I can't overstate the value I got from James, and if you're interested in chess and like the way he broke things down with me here, catch more of him linked in the description below as we end off our conversation.
My Twitch channel is GM Canty, so twitch.tv/GM Canty. My YouTube channel is James Canty III. Definitely will subscribe, guys. I would definitely appreciate that.
Thank you.
And
Take
man,
care.
no problem. Catch you later, bro.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.